The time is now 1:59 a.m. and next up is the Insomnia interval.
When we think of classic Christmas animation, our minds usually jump to colourful specials and nostalgic TV reruns. But long before any of that existed, Disney was already experimenting with festive stories on the silver screen. Tonight, we're looking at a trilogy of sorts, the black and white Christmas Mickey Mouse cartoons. 3 cartoons that trace Disney's growth from rough and tumble silent gags to more heartfelt storytelling. These Christmas-themed films reveal how Disney Studio learned, experimented, and refined its approach to animation during the late 1920s and early 1930s. In revisiting these shorts today, we gain a window into animation's earliest innovations and into Disney's growing mastery of character, timing, and heart. We're stepping back nearly a century to revisit 3 Christmas stories from the black and white era of animation. The first short in our lineup doesn't actually feature Mickey Mouse. Empty Socks is a silent Oswald the Lucky Rabbit short produced by Walt Disney and Ub Iwerks in 1927, during their pivotal pre-Mickey period. It is also Walt Disney's first Christmas-themed cartoon. Originally thought to be lost media, a partial copy of the short was rediscovered in 2014 in a Norwegian National Library. This included the first 2 minutes and the last 2 minutes of the 5-minute cartoon. A minute of the short remains lost to this day. The short centers on Oswald dressing up as Santa Claus to deliver presents to an orphanage during Christmas. True to the style of the late 1920s, the story unfolds loosely, prioritizing gags, physical comedy, and rhythmic motion over narrative. The orphans, represented here as kittens, begin to cause havoc. Between Oswald mantling a Christmas tree and the orphans riding a toy fire engine is the part of the cartoon which is missing. So, we jump to the orphans setting fire to the orphanage, and then tricking Oswald into spraying gasoline over the blaze when he attempts to put it out. The orphanage is blown up and the short ends abruptly, ending on a bit of a sour note as Oswald looks at the destruction caused. Its flaws, of course, are to be expected though. To criticize this short by modern standards would be unfair. To criticize it in comparison to what would come less than a decade later, that too would be unfair. Animation was still in its Stone Age era. 1920s animators were pioneers figuring things out for the first time. Techniques like rubber hose animation, looping cycles, and early character design were invented here. Even the janky stuff helped later animators learn what works, what doesn't, and what could be pushed further. Without the trial and error of the 1920s, the more polished work of the 1930s would not exist. Even basic filmmaking grammar like cuts, staging, and continuity was still evolving across the whole film industry. Animation had to piggyback on that and figure out its own rules simultaneously. Standards such as story depth, character arcs, and emotional beats, they'd come later. Even though it is a bit primitive, there's still plenty of fun to be had with Empty Socks. Characters stretch, bounce, and move in creative ways, demonstrating how animators were experimenting with what cartoons could do. Appreciating it within the context of when it was made lets you see how insanely far the art form has come. Also, given that until just over a decade ago this short was considered lost to time, only adds to the historic appeal. So, how is Empty Socks relevant to the rest of the Mickey Mouse black and white Christmas cartoons? The first Mickey Mouse festive short is actually a remake of Oswald's short, Empty Socks. 4 years later, on December 5th, Walt Disney released Mickey's Orphans, a short with a very similar setup and premise. Mickey's Orphans opens on a cozy, wholesome Christmas scene. Minnie plays Silent Night on the piano, Pluto naps by the fireplace, and Mickey decorates the tree. The atmosphere is warm, inviting, and instantly more polished than the previous short. Unfortunately for Mickey and Minnie, the festive calm doesn't last. Outside, a mysterious hooded figure trudges through a snowstorm, leaves a basket on their doorstep, rings the bell, and flees. Pluto brings the basket inside, revealing the titular orphans, again depicted as kittens, who, much like their counterparts in Oswald's Empty Socks, immediately begin wreaking havoc and tearing the house apart. Right away, the improvements in animation over the previous 4 years are clear. The backgrounds are more detailed, the shading more effective, and the characters' designs and movements more refined and expressive. Most notably, unlike Empty Socks, Mickey's Orphans feature synchronized sound, a technique first introduced by Disney in Steamboat Willie in 1928. Synchronized sound allowed music, effects, and dialogue to align precisely with on-screen action. This innovation reduced reliance on title cards and let animators use audio cues to direct the viewer's attention, making actions easier to follow and stories more engaging. It heightened mood, strengthened gags, and helped directors shape audience reactions. With sound, animators could build sequences around musical rhythms, paving the way for tightly choreographed visual music. From a story perspective, at points Mickey's Orphans can feel a little mean-spirited, much in the same way Empty Socks was. The characters we keep seeing punished through the slapstick gags are Mickey and Pluto, despite them surely being the characters that we are rooting for. The short ends with Mickey and Minnie proudly revealing their Christmas tree, which the orphans immediately destroy, and it only leaves me feeling bad for Mickey and Minnie, as opposed to the presumably intended reaction of being amused by the orphans' antics. This being said, Mickey's Orphans is a good time. The visual gags come thick and fast, and I especially really enjoy shots like these that you find in these old cartoons, where there's lots of different characters doing different actions on screen at once. The actions are usually looped to reduce animation time, but with so much happening on screen at once, it almost feels like a moving Where's Wally illustration. But why remake a short that had been released only 4 years earlier? What could possibly be gained from revisiting such a similar premise in such a short span of time? In fact, this was actually commonplace during the golden era of animation, and many long-running cartoon series did the exact same thing. Before television was invented, the only way to see cartoons was in theaters, normally shown before the feature presentation. This meant people didn't binge watch or regularly follow specific cartoon series. Viewers saw cartoons randomly before films. So, chances were that most audiences had never seen the earlier short that the new one was echoing. Repetition wasn't as obvious as it is today. This allowed studios to reuse gags or entire setups without much complaint. Studios like Warner Brothers and MGM were required to release a new cartoon every week or two for theatrical programs. So rehashing stories meant little time had to be spent writing fresh scenarios, and they could rely on proven formulas to meet deadlines. Reusing a plot framework such as a cat chasing a mouse, a hunter chasing a rabbit, or a sailor defending his girlfriend made production manageable. Even in theatrical animation, the cost of hand-drawing everything pushed studios to reuse backgrounds, animation cycles, and plot templates the animators already knew how to stage efficiently. Reusing story beats helped keep budgets in check. Many animators and writers had backgrounds in vaudeville theatre or radio, where recycling jokes was normal. Repeating classic routines was considered tradition, not laziness. If a plot worked, they reused it because it got laughs. It didn't matter if it resembled last year's short, as there was no long-term story continuity to protect. No one imagined people in the 2020s would be analysing them frame by frame on the internet. As well as all of this, it allowed studios to improve on what had come before, to take what had worked about previous shorts and build upon them. By 1931, Disney had far better animation and more expressive characters. Mickey's Orphans demonstrates more natural movement, better character acting, richer backgrounds, improved effects, and thanks to fully synchronized sound, more precise timing compared to the silent Empty Socks. Which brings us to our final short. Only a year after Mickey's Orphans, on December 17, 1932, Mickey's Good Deed was released, which is yet another festive tale about Mickey Mouse helping a group of down-on-their-luck kittens at Christmas. Mickey's Good Deed follows Mickey as a struggling street musician who, despite his own poverty, is determined to bring Christmas joy to a needy family. The children, once again depicted as kittens, become the focus of his generosity. In this short, however, the kittens are not orphans. They are the offspring of a single mother trying to survive in difficult circumstances, creating a different but equally heartfelt emotional pull. Considering that these shorts were released during the Great Depression, this shift may have been an intentional attempt to make the character's struggles more relatable to its then contemporary audiences. Meanwhile, the spoiled child of a wealthy family demands ownership of Mickey's beloved dog Pluto. Mickey reluctantly sells Pluto to provide gifts for the needy household. Come the end of the short, the underprivileged kittens, who don't destroy anything in this version, are given a perfect Christmas, whilst the spoiled brat who torments Pluto throughout the cartoon is punished for his wrongdoing. Compared to Empty Socks and Mickey's Orphans, this short doesn't feel like a loose string of gags. It feels like an actual story. Actions have consequences, situations evolve, and the narrative follows the clear structure of beginning, middle, and end. Mickey's Good Deed also strives to be more than simply funny. There's a clear emotional empathy towards many of the characters, and that more heartfelt approach leaves a far stronger impression. During the scenes in the mansion where Pluto is forced to endure the spoiled child's relentless and cruel antics, the short strikes a balance of humour whilst never feeling demeaning toward our protagonists, something the earlier shorts never fully achieved. Whilst Pluto is thrust into a less than ideal situation, the audience is never provoked to laugh at him. The joke is always directed at those who unfairly put him in this predicament. Introducing a wealthy family to assume the antagonistic roles proves an inspired choice, allowing them to become the butt of the slapstick gags rather than the characters we're meant to root for. This shift not only sharpens the comedic contrast, but also creates a clever thematic juxtaposition of the lavish excess of the mansion set against the everyday struggles and modest means of the other characters. In doing so, the short elevates its humour while adding a subtle social dimension that enriches the narrative. It's clear who we're meant to sympathise with and who we want to see get that happy ending, and the short delivers on that expectation. The characters who act with kindness are rewarded, while those who behave selfishly face the consequences of their actions. Put simply, it's just a far more satisfying viewing experience. The animation also reflects this. Mickey's gestures and facial expressions convey genuine internal conflict, as opposed to just being reactionary. This drawing has a soul who is being forced to make difficult judgments. This short is an early example of Disney leaning towards moral storytelling, using Mickey not as the mischievous character he began as, but as a figure defined by compassion and selflessness. The ending, which reunites Mickey and Pluto and rewards their charitable sacrifices, reinforces the short's message of good karma and strengthens its emotional impact. Third time really is the charm, as Mickey's Good Deed feels like the definitive version of this premise told 3 times over. To conclude, Disney's festive entries from the black and white era present 3 remarkably similarly themed cartoons, each new short borrowing elements from its predecessor. Watching them back to back shows the visible evolution of both Walt Disney Studio and animation as a medium. With each attempt, the animation becomes more refined, and the storytelling shifts from loose, gag-driven chaos toward narratives built on character and emotion. Revisiting these films today not only deepens our appreciation for the craft of early animation, but also highlights how these shorts helped shape the moral and emotional vocabulary that would come to define Disney's storytelling. What began as a simple, joke-focused silent film in Empty Socks was reimagined into the more polished slapstick of Mickey's Orphans, and eventually matured into the emotionally resonant narrative of Mickey's Good Deed. Perfection didn't come easily. It took 3 iterations and the growing pains that came with them for Disney to refine the formula and arrive at a short that balanced humour, heart, and moral clarity. These early cartoons stand as a testament to that process of artistic growth. Thank you very much for listening, and good night.